Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. For the past two videos, I have been focusing mainly on the snowstorm aspect of the weather at all of the United States. A snowstorm that will be occurring across the Midwest, the Great Lakes, the Western, Eastern Great Lakes, and moving up into the Northeast. Well, I would like to now focus a little bit more on the cold temperatures that will be coming their way since these cold temperatures will be fairly dangerously bitter cold, and this will definitely affect many people. Some areas 20 to 25 to 30 degrees 30 degrees below average. Some areas will be 20, 25, 30 degrees below average, and so definitely a bitter Arctic outbreak headed our way. If you'd like to support this channel, you could do so by subscribing. Um, Again, the button just looks like this. You're subscribed. You need to have a YouTube account in order to subscribe, but most people do, and you're done. And it helps my channel grow. So consider doing that. If you're new, check my channel out. It's about weather-related content, so feel free to do so. If you'd like to support my uh, if you'd like to support me to a new level, in a different and completely even more than just by subscribing, you could do so by becoming my Patreon. I will have a link to it in the description box below, so check that right now if you're interested. And you could just sign up, click on become a patron. It's real quick and easy. And again, this is completely optional. If you'd like to support me, I would be really really grateful for that. So thank you for that. I also have tiers on the Patreon, which gives you a reward for $2, $5, $10, or $25. So consider doing that, and thank you. So right now we're looking at the GFS 2 meter temperature anomaly. It basically shows you where it's above or below average at what given time, which is right here, and at what given place where basically the reds and blues are. So the darker the blues, the more below average. The brighter the oranges, the more above average. We go in time. We see it coming out here, right in here. This is Kansas already. Now it's in Missouri, and it brings up quite a bit of warm air into the system, which allows the moisture to come up with it. This is why the snowstorm will have so much vigor and so much snow on the northern cold side. But then behind it, we see a cold blast of air, and this isn't the worst yet. Still fairly chilly, up to 8 to 12 degrees below average, while the west you see is above average. That passes through, strengthens a little bit as it moves on into the northeast. The northeast will be bitter cold with this one, especially with the snowpack that's laid down. There will be the snow is reflective. It will reflect all the snow that falls, and it basically will keep things colder. That's what I'm leading to. Now, there's another warm up coming in here. This is Tuesday, and this is ahead of another potential snowstorm. But these areas will be cold enough still to see snow. So many same areas that we will see snow with this system, Winter Storm Harper, will now be seeing snow again, but with a different system. And you can see the temperatures dive again. You can look at that. This one's a little bit colder, potentially up to maybe 16 or even 20 degrees below average, which in the coldest time of the year, January, uh, your average can be around maybe 20, 30. If you're say 30 is your average, you're 20 degrees below average. You're at 10 degrees during the day, which is absolutely bone chilling. And if you factor in the wind chill, which could be in effect for many areas, which is basically when the wind blows, it feels like it could be in the single digits or even into the negatives. So this passes through but doesn't really let up. We see another blast coming in, and this is where the model run stops because the new model data is still coming in, and it's at hour 204. So let's go to 18Z Wednesday. This is the previous model run, and you can see it's forecasting, or it is advertising, another blast of air, which is even colder than the previous two. Very, very expansive, extending into the western part of the country. And try warming up, but then we get another cool down and things stay fairly chilly. The European model, the GFS, all the models are hinting at this, and they've been showing this for quite a while. So I think it's fair to say an Arctic attack is looming. Let's just go to the 2 meter temperature shaded, and let's see what the actual. This basically shows you what the actual temperatures will be at what given time. So let's go to hour 0 right now, and we can see that we're not seeing terribly cold conditions. A little bit chilly, especially the further north you go, but definitely seasonal for this time of year. But we get that influx right before Winter Storm Harper. Things start warming up. they could get warmed up a little bit. You could see the systems right in here, 60s, maybe even 50s, up to as far north as southern Indiana. But then that cold shot of air, and you can see the northeast the coldest because that's where the most snow will be. This is, I think, -18, -17, which I don't know if it'll be that cold on the border of Canada and U.S., but we'll just have to wait and see, because if it's advertising such cold this early on, this isn't the strongest blast of cold air that's coming along with a series of them. So what I'm saying is there's going to be much colder temperatures that occur beyond this point. And whether it's going to be -18 or -0, there's definitely going to be cooler temperatures beyond this point. I don't think it's going to be -18. I think it's going to be in the single digits during the day. But look at that, another blast of air. Look at those highs in Canada, -30 Fahrenheit. This isn't Celsius, so very chilly. And look at that gradient, guys. So some look, so Kansas or Nebraska, some areas are in the 40s and others are almost in the teens and in the single digits. That's how big this gradient will be. It won't be too expansive down to the south and always, because sometimes with these Arctic blasts, we see that this cold air just explodes and does not seem to stop, and just dives way into the south, and we see freeze warnings down here. Well, don't get me wrong, the south will get some of this cold, and there's actually frost advisories for Florida right now. I think northern Florida, some areas could get down into the 30s, even the upper 20s. The thing is, guys, though, that not all of these blasts of air will be reaching into the south. You could see the west will be warm, while the eastern northeastern third of the country will be absolutely slant. And look at that. That is just bitter. And if these models continue to show this, and look at that, maybe could potentially warm up, then a continued chill. So very chilly conditions, very cold, not looking good. In terms of the west, you could see above average, as I showed you earlier, based on those charts. And the east will just be absolutely hammered by the cold and the snow. So I'd like to quickly, I said that I'll mainly be focusing on the cold aspect and the temperature aspect of this uh, of this of the weather of this video. I'd like to quickly, though, go over the precip that may be going on. I won't be going into in depth on any of these systems, but here potentially a little system coming off Thursday. It's Thursday, so that is today, the day you're watching this video. You could be watching this video on Friday, though, however, or Saturday, but most likely you'll be watching this on Thursday, and we are seeing a small system going through, not much, maybe precursor to the big event, which happens right here. Several inches of snow, big event for the Northeast. We potentially get maybe a weak clipper. We get lake effect on here in the into Illinois. Then we see another system riding onto the West Coast, bringing many feet of snow to the mountains, and we see another system developing in the plains. And potentially, look at that, even snow maybe as far south as Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana. Panhandle, Florida, not out of the question. And then we get Alberta Clippers with this cold air that's just plentiful. They'll be riding this jet stream and producing quite a bit of snow. So let's quickly go to the 6 to 10 day outlook of the Climate Prediction Center. Let's quickly check. Okay, so we still have a little bit of time, and this extends from January 22nd through the 26th. They're not showing too much confidence in the cold air yet, because there's going to be some warm at the beginning, somewhere towards the end of this period. So they're a little bit less confident in this, top 60% of it being below average. I would say they're being conservative here, but we'll just have to roll with what they have. In terms of, look at this precip, we have above average for much of the country, at least the northeastern thirds, while the west is below average, which may seem actually counterintuitive, because there's a lot of storms coming on the west, and they have been all over social media. These big storms in the west, California's getting pounded right now. But again, this is not what's happening now. This is the 6 to 10 day outlook. So by then, things should really start drying out, but still above average for the northern half of the United States. And look, coupled with below average temperatures, that could lead to quite a bit of snow. So let's quickly go to the 8 to 14 day outlook, which extends from the 24th through the 30th. And wow, look at that. They're just very confident in this. This doesn't show us the extent of the cold, just how confident they are in that it will be below average, and an 80 to 90% of confidence being below average. And this is the 8 to 14 day outlook, which they typically have a little bit less confidence in. since it's a little bit further out. But in this time around, they have more confidence in it being cold in the 8 to 14 day outlook than the 6 to 10 day outlook. And look at that, still above average, especially for the Northeast and Upper Plains. Coupled with those cold temperatures, much more snow. So let's go to Pivotal Weather. This is basically another website that I like to use. I'm showing you the same things I showed you earlier, just in a little different format. And you can see that this one has a little bit better, shows the contrast a little bit more. You can see the warm temperatures. Sorry about that voice crack. The warm temperatures before Winter Storm Harp arriving into, say, southern Indiana, even Virginia. But then right behind it, you can see those cold temperatures or below average temperatures and cold temperatures crashing in. And look at that by James Bay, Hudson Bay. Look at that, -27, -30. Definitely very chilly conditions in store for the country, at least the eastern third. And then look at that. Potentially, I'm not buying this. -34 would just be absolutely nonsense. Cold. I mean, the record in many of these locations is -20. I think here in Chicago it's -27. So this would be a record breaker, but I'm doubting it. This will probably be maybe in the negatives for sure, but definitely not to the extent they're showing this here. So this is a European model. I don't think I updated you on this, but you definitely seen it for yourself. The Northeast is potentially getting quite a bit more snow with this than previously thought. So be making a video on that today later on in the day. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you all guys in the next episode. See ya. Bye.